What makes some rowers insanely fast while everyone else stays stuck? Today, I'm breaking down the 10 habits that separate the fastest high school rowers from the rest. If you're new here, I'm Kristen. I'm an 8-time national team rower and Olympian for Team USA. And since 2013, I've helped high school rowers across the US pull faster 2K scores, build confidence, and get recruited to row in college. I make these videos so athletes and their parents have clear, trustworthy guidance in a sport that often feels confusing, and so that athletes can reach their full potential. Before we dive in, hit subscribe so you don't miss future videos with tips that actually make you faster. In this video, I'll share the 10 habits that truly fast rowers do differently, things that you can start applying in your own training today. Let's dive in. Number 1, they have high standards for themselves. Exceptionally fast rowers hold themselves to the highest standard. More so than their coaches or teammates, they expect the best from themselves every day. They are highly driven towards excellence. They don't need a coach watching them, a seat racing day coming up, or a big erg test on the calendar to do things well. On the erg, they warm up properly. They don't let their splits go up just because it gets a little hard or because the coach is on the other side of the room rather than standing right behind their erg. They hit the prescribed splits. They finish their erg pieces strong rather than giving up because that's the standard they expect of themselves, not because someone else is forcing them to. On 2K erg testing day, they expect themselves to PR. Now on the water, they expect themselves to do well on seat racing day. They expect themselves to qualify for nationals. They don't settle for second place. They don't settle for missing the A final. They're very competitive and not only want to win, they are driven to go do it. This is all to say, truly elite athletes don't do a lot of hoping. They drive themselves towards their goals with action that meets their personal standards. And this is their motivation for achieving their goals. Now, this is not to say that the best rowers have a great day every day. They don't. And on the days where they fall short of their goals, they do a very honest analysis of what they could have done better. Where did their preparation falter? How is their mindset going into it? What tweaks need to happen before the next big race? At the Olympics, it's often said, at least in the athlete circles, that there are gold medalists and then there's everyone else. And that's because silver medals aren't good enough for most athletes at that level. They have worked their whole lives and they haven't done it to go get second place. They're relentless in their drive to hit their standards for themselves. Number 2, focus. The best rowers are highly focused during each and every practice. When they're at practice, rowing is the only thing that matters. When I was training in college and on the national team, there was a sense of walking in the door of the boathouse and leaving everything else in your life at the door. Your worries about your homework or a test coming up, all the life stuff that you had going on outside of rowing. When they're on the erg at practice, the best rowers are fully immersed in the workout they're doing. They're constantly assessing how consistent and precise they can be, how smooth they can make the stroke feel, how perfectly they can take the stroke, and how hard they can fight for it on the last piece of a hard workout. They stare at their monitor and make constant, small adjustments, stroke by stroke, to make their rowing even stronger and more efficient. Sometimes I hear coaches recommend watching TV while athletes are doing steady state to just pass the time. And that's really bad advice if you are a rower who has big ambitions. Long steady state days on the erg are a chance for complete immersion in that moment, a chance to get into that flow state that the best rowers know so well. They understand that rowing is a game of how perfect of a stroke you can take and how hard you can push for each of those strokes. And they make it their job to win that game every day. Number 3, they keep the main thing the main thing. The best rowers know that it's not easy to be the best at something, and they don't let other things in their life get in the way of that. If they want to be truly great at this sport, they avoid the distractions that could hinder their performance, and they don't let other people or circumstances get in the way of them achieving their goals. This means they don't miss practices, they don't miss races. Before a big race or an erg test, they don't hang out with their friends or go to sleep super late the night before. I didn't even go to my own high school graduation because it was the same weekend as youth nationals. In college, my teammates and I would go to bed early on a Friday night so that we'd be ready for pieces on Saturday morning, while our non-rower friends were out partying that night. I can't tell you how many weddings I missed when I was training for Team USA. And then at the Olympics, most of the rowers didn't even go to the opening ceremonies because we had racing the next day and we didn't want to be on our feet for 8 hours the night before a race that mattered so much. Now, I know some people watching this might think it's too bad to have missed all those experiences, but the way I look at it, it's all trade-offs. It's like, as a rower, what price are you willing to pay to get what you want? Yes, I gave up those experiences, but the experience of winning a medal at youth nationals and of winning national championships in college and racing all over the world for Team USA was absolutely worth those trade-offs to me. The best rowers are very clear on what the main thing is, and they don't let anything else get in the way of that. Number 4, they're students of the sport. It's easy to spot a rower like this for 2 reasons. First, they're the ones asking the coaches why. They want to understand why they're trying to put their blade in at the catch the way they are, why they should be consistent through the middle of their 2K on the erg, why pivoting over the hips on the recovery will help them go much faster. To them, it's not satisfactory to just do it because someone says to. They crave a deeper understanding and connection to their sport and to their craft. The second way to spot an athlete like this is they are the ones with a workout log in hand at practice. This is so they can track their progress over time, understand what's going well and what they could improve. They're the ones looking for patterns in their erg results so that they can identify their common pitfalls and use that information to get better. They analyze videos of themselves erging or rowing and then compare that to videos of national team and Olympic rowers to understand their own technical patterns and improve on them to become even better. This is to say that they are students not only of the sport, but also of themselves. They take ownership in their development. They don't want to just be told what to fix. They ask questions, seek feedback, and coach themselves in addition to having their coach them. Number 5, they have a do-what-it-takes mentality. Truly fast rowers have a do-what-it-takes mentality. When they decide they want to be great, they stop looking for the easiest path to get there and start looking for the one that has the greatest chance of them achieving their goal. And then they go align themselves with the team, coaches, and environment that they know gives them the greatest chance at achieving their goals. When I was training for the national team, I drove my car with my single on the roof and my oars inside the car for many thousands of miles across the country and back, stayed with countless host families, and lived out of a suitcase for years so that I could be at training camps and align myself with the best teammates leading into trials and national selection regattas. I even had my erg in the back of the car on some of those trips, and when I was driving cross country, I'd get to the hotel at like 8 p.m., wheel my erg into the hotel's fitness center, and do my workout. It wasn't convenient, and I will not pretend it was glamorous, but it's what it took to get to my goal. This is to say that truly fast rowers say, I'll be there when they get an invitation to a development camp or an opportunity, and then figure out how to do it, rather than saying, let me see if I can make that work. I saw so many of my national team teammates do the same. It was simply the expectation. That same mindset shows up in smaller everyday decisions too. It's finding access to an erg during school breaks or family vacations. It's adjusting schedules, making sacrifices, and solving problems instead of making excuses. For me, this also played out in my decision to transfer schools after my freshman year of college. People thought I was crazy for leaving Georgetown, but one, I wanted to be happier and more aligned with the university, but I also wanted to achieve what I knew was possible athletically. And I saw pretty clearly that I wasn't going to be able to reach my potential in that current environment. So I made a hard decision in order to put myself in a better position to achieve my goals. Truly fast rowers are willing to make uncomfortable choices in service of a long-term goal. They understand that wanting to be great means backing that desire up with action, and sometimes that action requires what some would call sacrifice, but what the best rowers simply see as the path to getting their goal. Number 6, they are comfortable with the uncomfortable. Rowing is an inherently uncomfortable sport. It's a full-body endurance sport, and our primary race distance, 2,000 meters, is one of the most physiologically challenging distances. Rather than wishing this wasn't true, the best rowers accept this reality early on. They understand that discomfort and pain are just part of the sport, and instead of fighting that reality, they accept that they'll have to manage it, and then they get on with the work. When the pain shows up during a 2K, they're not surprised by it or afraid of it. They welcome it. They learn to work with it instead of reacting emotionally to it. They stay present and strategic when it hurts. And over time, they learn to take confidence from these moments because they know that if it hurts for them, number one, it probably hurts for everyone else. And number two, they're probably also on their way to a PR or a really solid performance. Recently, I saw that the team motto of one of the best collegiate teams in the country was "Embrace the suck." And that's exactly what this one is about. The ability to remain calm, composed, and intentional inside the discomfort is one of the biggest separators from athletes who plateau and athletes who keep getting faster. Number 7, they have insane consistency. Rowing is a sport that rewards consistency. It's the same stroke over and over and over again. And the best rowers carry that mindset into every part of their rowing career. From one stroke to the next, they're looking for their split to not vary at all, especially on steady state. In the third 500 of a 2K, they're looking to hold their split no matter what it takes. They take pride in their ability to stay consistent through the challenges that are thrown their way. That same consistency also shows up from one piece to the next. They're aiming to repeat their split or get a little faster instead of letting their performance vary wildly. And it extends beyond individual workouts into a bigger picture. From one day to the next, they don't let the highs get too high or the lows get too low. They show up, do the work, and trust the process. Over time, this insane consistency compounds, and that's how fast rowers separate themselves in a sport where progress is earned literally one stroke at a time. Number 8, they have a passion for seeing what's possible for them, not a fear of it. Truly fast rowers are driven by curiosity about their own potential. They're not motivated by fear of failure or a fear of disappointing others or a fear of falling short. They're motivated by a genuine desire to see how good they can become. That passion pulls them forward towards their goal rather than them feeling like they're pushed from behind by others. And that makes them excited to train, excited to test themselves, and to step into situations where the outcome isn't guaranteed. Because they're oriented towards possibility rather than fear, they're willing to take risks. They race people who might beat them. They set ambitious goals. They're excited by races and 2K tests, and they say yes to selection opportunities instead of avoiding them. And when things don't go perfectly, they don't retreat. They lean in and they learn. This mindset creates momentum. Athletes who are curious about their limits keep pushing them, while athletes who are driven by fear tend to play it safe. Over time, that difference shows up really clearly on the erg and in the boat, and in who continues to get faster year after year. Number 9, they have supreme decision-making. Truly fast rowers are constantly positioning themselves to be successful. And to do that, they make excellent decisions, especially when things aren't going perfectly. Take a 2K erg test, for example. At some point, almost everyone gets to the moment where it doesn't feel great. The difference is how quickly the best rowers respond. They don't spiral and panic and abandon the plan. They make quick, real-time adjustments like bumping the rate up one beat or changing their rhythm or focusing only on the next 10 strokes. They understand that one bad feeling doesn't have to turn into an entirely bad result, and they're skilled at pivoting without emotionally blowing up the whole piece. In this same way, if they're racing on the water and the boat next to them gets out ahead, they're not reactive and they don't start racing someone else's race. They stay composed and quickly get into strategy mode so that they know what they need to do now to improve their own performance. Over time, those quick but composed decisions compound, and that's how athletes start to separate themselves when the margins get really small and the races get much more competitive. Number 10, they trust the process. Truly fast rowers stay process-oriented, not outcome-obsessed. They understand that chasing the results directly, like PRs and gold medals, often backfires. Instead, they focus on what they can control, their preparation, their planning, their execution, how they show up every day. They trust that if these things will go well, the results will take care of themselves. This trust gives them patience. They don't panic after one bad test or get complacent after one good one. They stick to the plan even when progress feels slow. Over time, that consistency compounds. Athletes who trust the process keep improving because they're committed to doing the right things over and over and over again. And that's ultimately what produces consistently fast rowers. So here's the key takeaway from these 10 things. fast rowers aren't born that way. I know this for myself. They just simply behave differently. Their decision-making, their consistency over time, and the way that they strategically approach their sport. If you found this helpful, like, subscribe, put a comment below. I'd love to hear which of these 10 habits you're going to focus on next. And if you're a high school rower or a parent of one, and you want help building these habits the right way, check out the links below. This is exactly what I work with athletes on inside my coaching programs.